Ko ai au, he uri o Ngāti Tahinga Ngāti Mahuta hoki, no Waikato ahau. I am a Rongoā Māori practitioner of 20 plus years experience, although I do not classify myself as a tohunga, and this bill will have a significant impact on my work. My interests in relation to the TPB are limited to the care and protection of Rongoā Māori as a tool for improving health and outcomes for all people and minimising the burden of cost associated with healthcare in Aotearoa. I want to be really clear, Rongoā Māori is not a natural health product, nor is it green pharmacy, nor is it Māori massage. It is the oldest healing practice here in Aotearoa. Rongoā Māori is a tool that can help improve health equity. It is a way of knowing, doing and being Māori that strives to improve individual and collective well-being through the restoration of balance and reciprocity. It encompasses the principles of wairua, mauri, manaaki. It is already adequately regulated by tikanga and kawa, and it cannot be reduced to a product that is determined by its physical ingredients. To alter part is to impact the whole. And to cut to the chase, in my opinion, the TPB is racist and privileges Western models of care and values over Māori ways of understanding the world. It also will criminalise Rongoā Māori as it's practiced today, and that oversteps the Crown's rights by attempting to control, through regulation, taonga Māori. It will increase cost and reduce access to Rongoā Māori, as warned by our own health officials in their regulatory impact statement, May 2021. The cost of perpetuating and further alienating Māori interests, as in this bill, is a luxury the Crown can no longer afford. As Jane said, the Waitangi Tribunal have already signalled that Crown attempts to regulate Rongoā Māori in a way opposed by Māori would be a matter of real concern to the Tribunal. And I expect that this bill will continue to allow businesses to falsely label some health supplements as natural when they are not. While they may be chemically identical, they were not created by nature. And yet, we outlaw our Indigenous from speaking the truth and declaring in promotional material that certain remedies were traditionally used by their ancestors. I imagine it will also continue the practice of scheduling important healing plants so that only our medical doctors can use or prescribe them, despite being the least qualified profession to do so. Sometimes the law makes absolutely no sense. And given the points raised in this submission, we recommend that the following additional clause be added to the TPB. And that clause reads, "This Act recognises Māori rights to tino rangatiratanga over their taonga as guaranteed in Article 2 of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Nothing in this Act shall apply to Rongoā Māori." There is no denying that we have a health system that is in dire straits. We have rapidly growing demand on our health services, reduced access to healthcare as a result of increased global competition for our health professionals, a maturing and burnt out domestic resource pool, unprecedented attrition rates, not to mention the competing and urgent financial demands of addressing the impacts of climate change. Our urgent health response, a Category 5 priority on the Parliament legislation programme, is to regulate natural health products and further control all other forms of healing outside of a Western model of healthcare. That said, there are much bigger issues than treaty rights or legal obligations at stake here. Although the requirement to honour our treaty obligations might be the very thing that saves us from ourselves in this instance. For a moment, let me bring us all back to what unites us and why we've all turned up here today. And that is to play our small part in helping to improve health outcomes for the people of Aotearoa. Trust in the ability of our current health system to meet urgent needs of our population is at an all-time low, and reflective of challenges governments around the world are facing today. The TPB can have an important role to play in helping resolve some of these issues. Instead of using it as a tool to regulate or control other forms of healing by privileging Western medicine priorities and values, we can use it as a tool to help support a health system in crisis, by recognising, stimulating and enabling other forms of healing. The economic reality of this situation is that if demand is increasing, our ability to produce is decreasing, cost will increase, generating even more rapid decline in our ability to meet demand. In turn, declining timely access to healthcare will create a bottleneck for government aspirations in areas associated with education, social services, and law and order. 1 year's seeding will definitely lead to 7 years weeding. There is no ignoring that fact. None of us want to be seeding poorer health outcomes on our watch. It is an economic and moral imperative that we broaden access to different ways of addressing this urgent task. We cannot ignore the opportunity we have right now to recognise and empower Indigenous health practices. But we have put the cart before the horse. A significant part of this bill in its current form is about controlling green pharmacy. It fails to offer new solutions to address our health crisis. In fact, it does the opposite by attempting to control them. The bill doesn't even allow natural health product suppliers to make therapeutic claims beyond rules that already exist in the Medicines Act. The only new thing it offers in this space is watered down health claims. All I see in the Indigenous space is more Crown intervention in a space they have no expertise in. As it currently stands, the bill assumes total regulatory control through the regulator over what will or will not be tolerated in the rongoā space, a recognised taonga tuku iho to Māori. The Crown can continue to ignore us, but we won't go away. Rongoā is not a vocation choice for me. It is an obligation to my tupuna, my teachers, those yet to be born, and the care and well-being of our precious taiao. Or the Crown can attempt to regulate Rongoā Māori and other Indigenous health practices, and this will most definitely result in an urgent National Waitangi Tribunal request for a breach of treaty rights, potentially delaying enactment. Or the Crown can embrace us and empower us to help address the health crisis we all find ourselves in. No practice will ever be completely risk-free, and the most regulated of all is the one responsible for the greatest number of adverse outcomes for people the world over. I'm not ignoring the amazing good modern medicine does, merely illustrating that regulation does not deliver better health outcomes for wellbeing practices that are already statistically safe. In fact, the greatest threat to Rongoā Māori and consumer safety is Crown intervention and exploitation of practices they have no expertise or authority in. To impose Western tikanga over tikanga Māori would only increase risk to consumers and practitioners alike. The Therapeutic Products Bill presents an opportunity for Crown to advance health equity and cultural safety for Māori. It presents an opportunity to protect rongoā practitioners and consumers by recognising, protecting and reinforcing tikanga, kawa and Māori rights to continued tino rangatiratanga over our own taonga. Ensuring practitioner safety ensures product safety. And I ask you to seize this opportunity to acknowledge and enable the Indigenous healing practices of our increasingly diverse population. It is in our diversity that we bring our respective gifts to address the urgent needs of our public health system. But as tangata whenua, I ask that you support the addition of the clause identified earlier. Absolutely nothing we are asking for takes anything away from the rights of others in our communities, but it delivers huge potential. You only have to look to the ACC experience for proof, as Charlotte mentioned earlier. 40% of those who use rongoā are non-Māori, and 73% of rongoā Māori users require no further treatment for the same injury. The only reason rongoā even exists today is because it works. Please don't try to fix it. Ko te mea tika me te pono. Please give effect to that which is right and just. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Got it, and thank you, Donna. Our final submitter is unable to join us, so we actually have 1 or 2 minutes up our sleeve if anybody did have a specific question for Donna or want to make a comment. Dr. Elizabeth Kerridge, please.
Oh, tēnā koe te rangatira. At Waitangi, you spoke from the stage, and many other whānau from Taitokerau about the potential impact of this bill. Could you maybe, and as you say, we have all the technical things, speak a little bit to the wairua and the Māori that you mentioned, and how this might affect the wairua of the people, say, that you look after, that you treat, if this bill came to pass?
Well, the way I see it is that this bill is only looking at the physical elements of a small portion of the practice of Rongoā Māori. To change one thing on an aeroplane could easily impact its ability to fly and meet its purpose. The same is true for Rongoā Māori. The minute we start to dabble in any part of that, we affect other parts. And we have to remember that, unlike Western medicine, we have a very strong focus on both the seen and the unseen elements of health and well-being. We all know that there are things that exist on this planet that, although we cannot see them, we know they exist. And wairua is an extremely important element. We are the living face of our tupuna, and we are them, they are us. And for us to acknowledge that requires the whole practice of Rongoā Māori. We can't cherry pick bits of it, play with it, and expect it to deliver the same outcome. It works. Can we please acknowledge that? And can we please put aside all our political interests in an effort to make available an opportunity to support the health system that actually costs less than most other practices, causes less harm than most other practices, and you have a willing workforce and willing consumers. Why would you not enable Rongoā Māori?